Yo guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and it's all about understanding how to get paid as a small influencer or a small content creator or brand ambassador. I feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there. I get a lot of messages from people on Instagram and YouTube asking about how to actually get paid deals with the brands that they actually want to work with for the content that they are creating. So in this video, I thought it'd be cool to break down 3 steps, if you like, to getting more paid brand deals. I want to break down some of the basics and how to get started, give you an idea of what you should and could be charging for the content you're creating, because I think it will actually surprise a lot of people watching this. And then I'm going to give you some tips for actually reaching out and connecting with the brands that you want to work with. So first of all, I think it's pretty important to understand which platforms that you are going to focus on. Before sending out emails and contacting brands, I think it's always good to get clear on what your focus is going to be. Whether, like me, your focus is primarily YouTube videos, or maybe you're more of like an Instagram person, or you're on TikTok or some other social media platform. I think it's really good to get clear on what your focus platform or platforms is going to be. At the minute, mine is obviously YouTube, but I'm growing my TikTok following and Instagram as well as secondary channels, because I understand that is what brands are actually looking for. But YouTube and video creation is my primary way of communicating my content to you guys. So first of all, it's worth getting clear on which platform you're going to focus on. The next part of this is to understand like what type of, I actually hate this word, I hate the word influencer, but it's what people use and what people are used to, but it's understanding what type of influencer you are. Even if you only have a few thousand followers on whatever platform you're on, you're probably undercharging yourself and you're probably not valuing yourself as much as you could and you should be. If you have between 1,000 and 10,000 followers, you are what I would class as, or what people class as, a nano influencer. Anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 followers is a micro influencer. Anywhere from 50,000 to 500,000 is like a mid-tier influencer. A macro influencer would be anywhere between 500,000 and 1 million. And then anything above 1 million is like your mega influencers, like think celebrities in your space. I'm going to show you in a second as well that even if you're a nano influencer, you can still be getting paid brand deals, so you don't have to settle for free product. You have to think about this as marketing and advertising. So brands and companies are probably spending money, or they are spending money on marketing and advertising on different platforms and different mediums, so whether it's paid advertising on Facebook or other platforms, they're still putting money in to get their products or services in front of their ideal audience or their ideal customers. Influencer marketing like this is just one of those means. So therefore, it should be industry standard that you get paid for the content you create. So it's almost worth thinking about your feed or your channel or whatever you're on as a portfolio of what work you've done and what you can actually offer, and your style and the types of content you created in the past, because that will give any brand a good idea and a good flavor of what you are capable of creating, your style, whether it will be a good fit with their customers and their products. I see a lot on my feed of people doing deals with brands, and they showcase the brands that they are working with and how excited they are to work with them. If you actually ask some of these people, a lot of the time they're just getting free product in return for like exposure. The exposure kind of is the payment, if you like. Unfortunately, exposure, likes and stuff like that don't really pay bills. So if you actually want to think about this paid career as a content creator, you need to be taking yourself seriously, and you can't always be doing things for free. Sometimes it does make sense to do things for free. So if doing like a product deal with a brand will open doors for you in the future, or it will lead to other things, there is obviously scope for doing free products in return for exposure. For most of the cases, it's definitely worth, like any other means of advertising and marketing, to look at it as a paid service. That should be industry standard. So who do you actually want to work with? I have a huge list on Google Drive saved, which I call the Dream 100, which is basically a spreadsheet or a list of probably more than 100 people or 100 brands that I would love to work with in the future. This isn't defined or like constrained to one industry or one niche. So it's not just full of mountain bike companies or anything like that. It's all sorts of brands that have crossovers, any outdoor brands, any adventure brands, anything that I think my audience would be interested in. So whether it's like living in a camper van, mountain biking, outdoor adventure stuff, anything around all those things, I've gone and done some research and found companies that I think I would be a really great fit for. And then obviously you want to find contact details for the people at these brands. One of the best places to do this is on LinkedIn. You can use their search tool to find the correct people at any brand, or most, like 99% of brands, who is the decision maker in the marketing department of a brand. So you don't want to be emailing like info at brand name or whatever, because that is just like a generic email that you don't want to be in that inbox. You want to find the right person and land in the right inbox and start the conversation with the right person. I'll give you some tips later on how to do this, but for now, just make sure you've got a big list of brands you want to work with, of like your dream brands, if you like. That's what I would call it. You don't need to send this out just yet, but I would always have a media kit at your disposal already to send to a brand who asks for one. So a media kit is basically like a short 1, 2, or even 3 page document that shows brands like who you are, what your audience looks like, what their demographics are, what your reach is like on different platforms. And on the final page, I always have like a rate card as well. So this has like all the services that we currently offer and can offer to brands. So it gives the brand a snapshot of how we could potentially fit into a marketing campaign for that brand in the future. If you're looking to put together a media kit, I have put a link in the description where you can grab a template I've put together of the very media kit that I use. And it's basically just plug and play, drag and drop, and you can use it for whatever industry and just customize it to what you're doing. Real handy to have. And that's in the link in the description below if you want to grab that. So the second part of this is what to charge, which is probably what most people are actually interested in. I feel people want to get paid for the content they create, but they just literally don't know how to ask for it, or they don't know what to charge. So it's probably worth pointing out like what I have done in the past when I first started creating content. And obviously I've done stuff for free, and occasionally I still do a few things for free if I know it's going to lead to opening doors in different things or whatever. But doing it for free forever I don't advise that. If you want to do this as a full-time career as a content creator, you can't do everything for free all the time. It just does not make sense at all. So I used to always sell myself short and do like low cost deals if there was any money involved. So maybe like £25 or dollars or £50 for an Instagram post, a shout out in a YouTube video or something like that, which is definitely not the way to go. It sounds really good. Like it sounds like the brands are getting a deal, but also you're undercutting yourself and you're devaluing what you're doing. And even as freelancers, which most of you probably are watching this, like freelancing means that you can charge whatever the fuck you want. You put a price on your own content. You value your own content. You know how much work you've put in to the idea, the concept, the creation, the actual delivery of the content. So only you can really determine how much you are valued at. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some numbers in a second, which will hopefully get the brain cogs ticking so you can decide what you're comfortable with charging for the content you create. So on the screen now, hopefully if I've done this correctly, there should be like a spreadsheet that breaks down all the different like audience levels, ideas of how much you can charge per your audience size and your reach and engagement. This is not set in stone. That's one thing I need to point out and want to point out, because I don't want somebody looking at this and being like, I can't charge that. I don't feel confident charging that. I feel comfortable charging that. It's not supposed to be set in stone. This isn't industry standards or anything like that. These are just something I've put together from previous experience and also kind of like a mix of what I've found online. So I've done some searches on blogs and stuff like that and tried to see what other people in the industry have been charging, just to give you a flavor of what's actually possible. This is based off Instagram. So this isn't YouTube, this isn't TikTok. So they may vary over platforms, but this should get your brain cogs ticking as to what you can actually charge and what you're actually worth as a creator or an influencer. I'm just gonna come back to confidence a second, because being confident how much you can charge is very important, and comfortable as well, because money is like this fluid thing. It's not like a concrete thing, it's just a number. It's a value you put on the content you create. You can charge as little or as much as you want, and nobody else can tell you otherwise. Nobody can tell you that you're too expensive, you're too cheap. People will. You will get brands coming around and saying that they don't believe what you're charging them is worth it to them and your audience size, but sometimes that can just be like a bit of miscommunication. Maybe the brand doesn't know your audience as well as you do. Even if you have a small nano audience of like less than 10,000 people on any of these platforms, you can still have a really, really good relationship with those people. Let's just say, for instance, you are working with a brand who has a $500 or £500 product, and you charge them £500 to do a paid Instagram post or an organic segment in a YouTube video or whatever, or a TikTok video, whatever. And that post leads to 1 or more sales. You just made that person money, which is what marketing obviously is. Even if they make 5 sales at £500, at $2,500, that's like a return of, I think, 5 times on the investment. Yeah, that just goes to show, even if they make 1 sale off that money they spent on getting you to create the content that you're capable of, it's worth it. It's worth its weight in gold. If you could put in £500 to get 2.5 grand out, how many times in a day would you do that? Like, you would do that all day, every day, and you would pump in as much money as humanly possible, I would think, I would expect. When you have an audience on social media and you have a really good relationship with that audience, that is key, which is why it comes back to audience isn't always the determining factor on how much you should get paid for the content you create, because it's always about the engagement you have with that audience and like how well you know them, if you like. Because we've promoted products in the past and I've had so many messages from people saying they've actually gone out and bought these products and stuff like that, which is amazing to see. And that's the coolest thing, like seeing people off your recommendation go and buying products. And that's what it should be like. You're influencing people, as much as I hate that word, but that's what it is. And then the third part of this video is about giving you some tips on actually reaching out to brands in the first place. So you've obviously now should have a media kit. If you've not got the template, go and get that in the description below. And you'll also have your list of brands that you actually want to work with. When it comes to finding these contact details, I like to use LinkedIn. I like to use Instagram as some primary communication methods to find the right person. When you're sending the first email out to a brand, make sure that email comes from a professional email if possible. I personally would treat it as an investment to go and get a professional email address. So whether that's like alex@wolfpackadventures.com or amanda@wolfpackadventures.com or whatever, instead of something at gmail.com, or even like the email address you used to have when you were at high school, which has like underscores in it and numbers and doesn't really make any sense. Try and get rid of that. Get yourself a professional email address that actually looks like you are taking this seriously and you know what you're doing, because that means a lot to brands. And all these little things that may seem insignificant like actually add up and make you stand out above everybody else. I'd always try and find 2 people at a brand, so 2 contact names and email addresses if possible, just to give you a backup if one email fails. It just means you've got 2 points of contact, twice as much chance of getting a response from a brand. In the first email that I would send them, I would keep this rather short and concise. Don't send your media kit, don't send your pricing or anything like that in the first point of contact. All you want to do is send a really 2 or 3 sentence email that opens a conversation and then take things from there. Maybe I'm going to do another video in the future on actually how to negotiate with brands and actually how to speak to them and communicate and actually close deals. That'd be quite a cool video, but let me know in the comments if that is something you're interested in and I'll go and make that video. So those are basically like three steps to helping you get more paid brand deals as a content creator influencer. Obviously there's loads more steps involved, but that's kind of like the overview of how I would think of things, and hopefully it's helped you out and getting you some clarity, making things a little bit clearer, because like I said, I feel there's a lot of misinformation that people see and read which puts them off from even asking for money and makes them feel like they're not worth what they're asking for. Just know that you can ask for money in compensation, or like you are offering a service of creating content, so just know that your content is probably way more valuable than you think it is. Any questions on any of this stuff, like get in the comments below and I'll answer them. I'll see you next video.